Listen, who is the enemy of the radical left? You know, they have different targets, but their final target, it is the body of Christ. It is. That's their final target.
Yeah.
That's who they're coming after. And you see it, you're starting to see it now, but we haven't seen anything yet. You know, actually, this was a threat made by, so obviously the Supreme Court justices, the conservatives. So it's conservatives are the enemy, and then the ultimate enemy are conservative Christians. So here's actually a threat, a real threat, by Chuck Schumer in 2020. He delivered this threat towards Supreme Court Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. In this video, he is standing in front of a crowd at the Supreme Court. He made this threat because he was worried at that time that if the court voted in favor of the Louisiana abortion law, that it could result in the court revisiting protections provided in the Roe v. Wade ruling. And so he threatened them. Listen to what he had to say in 2020.
Republican legislatures are waging a war on women, all women, and they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
Schumer's 2020 pledge that justices would pay the price, I would say it's now been realized as they've been placed in undisclosed locations, bunkering down because the mobs are outside of their homes. Unbelievable. Pay the price.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously he was making a real physical threat. It couldn't have been a political threat. And the reason why it couldn't have been a political threat is because Congress has very, very limited power over the Supreme Court. They can really only do two things. One thing that they can do is they can confirm or deny appointees to the court that have been nominated by the president, which obviously that has no bearing on sitting justices. They can't remove sitting justices. So that's not a threat.
Yeah, so how will you pay, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tax them.
Exactly. And the other thing they could do is they could pack the court. But that would require, honestly, because it's such a radical move, it would require a 10-seat majority in the Senate, which he said this in 2020, that was not likely. That wasn't going to happen. And it's definitely not going to happen now because they would need a 60 votes in the Senate, which is not going to happen. So this threat couldn't have been political. It could only have been a physical threat.
That's right. You know, and so who's the enemy? Conservatives. And the ultimate enemy is conservative Christians. And there's an article I read this week, and it was called God is Under Attack. The Mob Comes for Religion. It talks about how communism depends on the autonomization of society. Basically, all of us becoming autonomous creatures like robots, like just doing what we're told, and just nothing must stand between the state and the individual. The family unit must be destroyed. The individual must owe his or her only allegiance to the all-powerful state and the party which controls it. But perhaps most of all, communists must destroy what? It's religion. The idea that individuals might place their fate in anything other than the all-powerful, omnipresent government, well, it's anathema. It cannot be tolerated. You must stand powerless and alone in the face of your oppressor who owns your body and soul. So let's look at what were the mobs doing this last week. Well, one, a Molotov cocktail was thrown into the Madison headquarters of an anti-abortion group, Wisconsin Family Action, last Sunday. The outside of the building was also sprayed with graffiti depicting an anarchy symbol, an anti-police slogan, and the phrase, "If abortions aren't safe, then neither are you." Now, this is a very Christian organization. It actually says on their website, it is the mission of Wisconsin Family Action to advance Judeo-Christian principles and values in Wisconsin by strengthening, preserving, and promoting marriage, family life, and liberty. The website shows an explicitly religious organization focused on traditional Christian teaching and working with the church. That's their enemy. That's who they're attacking. Another one, on the same day that the Wisconsin Family Action was firebombed, Groups attended to disrupt church services at different locations. One, and I don't have time to read the articles, but one was in Los Angeles, another church service in Seattle, another church service in New York. Why? Because we are the enemy. Listen, if they're trying to overrule Roe v. Wade and they're going after the churches, they've tipped their cards to show us who they're really after.